of the Vermilion River only to see if it would qualify as a state scenic river. As far as I know, at none of these meetings was the state scenic river law or the ODNR's administrative code dealing with the state scenic law was handed out. Since it was just a study, it was pretty easy to get most the townships, county commissioners, and the different 3 counties to go along with this. The study was in 07 and early 08. It was at a cost of $240,000. Again, they emphasized study only. So we didn't really hear anything about that for over 2 years. Then on Thursday, March 18th, there was an ad in the, not an ad, but an article that says in the in the Morning Journal out of Lorraine, Vermilion River earns Ohio's 15th scenic title. I'll read a little bit of that from you, but the Vermilion River is set to become Ohio's 15th scenic river. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources Division of Watercraft will host a public meeting at 7 p.m. Monday to consider comments of the law about the scenic river designation for the Vermilion River. It will be the opening of the 30-day comment period before the ODNR confers designation and a ceremony planned for April 20th, according to the ODNR spokesman. We have overwhelming support for the designation in Erie and Lorraine counties. The designation will be established unless there is significant protest. At Monday's meeting, ODNR staff and members of the Vermilion River Watershed Steering Committee will explain the state scenic river programs and the designation process. So we're kind of all caught off guard on this. The next day, or not the next day, but on Sunday, March 21st, in the Journal was a intent to designate official notice from the ODNR, which came to our, then on Monday, March 22nd was their official meeting on it. Now, at this point, we're supposed to be discussing the scenic river study and the designation at this March 22nd meeting. The problem was the ODNR showed up, and not prior to the meeting online or even at the meeting was there any copy of this study for us to look at. They came to this meeting, as I already read there, they were already planned with their press release that they already had their ceremony planned for April 20th. This is your one public meeting on this that they planned to have, but no information available. They did hand out the Ohio Scenic River Law and a map that didn't really match, very poor quality, the map that they had on their slideshow. So we got the slideshow was basically the biggest thing. The question and answer period, a lot of people had questions, and they were intent on not answering anyone's questions by stating, that's a good question, put it in writing and we'll send it down to Columbus, or we'll get back to you, or I'm not sure. A lot of non-answers. At the end of the meeting, one of the trustees from Florence Township spoke up and stated that our township, which is probably a third of this section that you plan on designating is in, we did not vote for this. And they kind of tried to wave him off, and he was pretty adamant about 3 times, And he requested, how about a show of hands at this meeting, people for or against this. Well, they finally agreed to that after, we had to berate them a little. They said, at the end we had to show hands. It was 34 against and 14 for. Now the 14 that were for it were a number of the ODNR people up from Columbus, and this was at the Lorraine County Metro Parks and some of their employees. So it was overwhelming against it. The following week, Brownhelm Township, which is where this meeting, is the township where this first public meeting was held. A number of people came to that regular township meeting, more than 50, really upset about this. The township decided to have a special meeting and invite the ODNR down on the following Monday. And at that meeting, it was roughly 75 people there. I think 2 people spoke in favor of it, and the majority of the crowd there was vehemently against it. what at issue here, this Ohio Scenic River Law, is very far-reaching. It's contradictory in places, and that seems to be part of the problem. I can read you a couple sections here. The scenic river area means an area declared a scenic river by the director under this chapter, includes those rivers or sections of rivers that are free of impoundments, with shorelines or watersheds still largely primitive and shorelines largely undeveloped, but accessible in places by roads. And we go down here to section 1547.52. The chief may adopt, amend, or rescind rules governing the use, visitation, protection, and administration of scenic river areas, rules establishing fees and charges for all the following: the conducting of stream impact reviews of any planned or proposed construction, modification, renovation, or development project that may potentially impact a watercourse within a designated scenic river area. Section 1547.81, the Director of Natural Resources may create, supervise, operate, protect, and maintain scenic river areas. They also may cooperate with federal agencies administering any federal program in the scenic river area. This next section deals with the area itself and says the director may propose for establishment in a scenic river area a part or parts of any watercourse in this state with adjacent lands that in the director's judgment possesses water conservation, scenic, fish, wildlife, historic, or outdoor recreational values that should be preserved. The area shall include lands adjacent to the watercourse in sufficient width to protect, preserve, develop the natural character of the watercourse, but shall not include any lands more than 1,000 feet from the normal water lines of the watercourse, unless an additional width is necessary to preserve water conservation, scenic width, wildlife, historic, or outdoor recreational values. So the 1,000 foot on either side of this river doesn't really mean that it's whatever that they deem necessary to take. The law goes on, the director may publish an intent to declare once in a newspaper general circulation. And all he has to do is enter, after 30 days from last date of publication, or written notice is required, the director shall enter a declaration in the Director's Journal that an area is wild, scenic, or recreational area, and so entered the area is a wild, scenic, or recreational river area. The only section in the law that protects property owners' rights along that river or in that 1,000 foot or land beyond, it says declaration by the director that an area is a scenic river does not authorize the director or any government or agency or political subdivision to restrict the use of land by the owner. Thereof any person acting upon the landowner's authority or to enter upon the land and not expand or abridge the regulatory authority of any other government agency. The director may enter, this is on down another paragraph, the director may enter into a lease or other agreement with a political subdivision to administer all or part and may acquire real property of any estate, right, or interest therein in order to provide for the protection and public recreational use of a scenic river area. The chief of the division of watercraft or the chief's representative may participate in watershed-wide planning with federal, state, and local agencies in order to protect the values of a scenic river area. So it's not only the 1,000 foot and lands beyond, but it's the entire watershed that they are taking over to control.